Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Texansia Community Chit Chat. I'm glad to have you all present today, this evening, for us to talk about one very interesting, exciting, and crazy topic that I believe that every person is facing. Um, my name is Martin Fongo Martin, and I'll be your host. I'll be your coordinator for this particular session. And this is episode 4. In the previous episode, we had Engineer Tabi Idris and Mr. Apuma Patrice, where we're talking about work-life balance. And today we're diving a bit deeper into this aspect where we'll be looking at relationships at the workplace, how you can cultivate the right relationships that can help you to build yourself at the work, and how you cultivate the wrong relationships that can make you lose a lot at the workplace, and boundaries, toxic and non-toxic relationships. Just to be sure that I have everybody can be able to get me loud and clear, if you can just unmute your mic and say anything that you feel comfortable.
Hello.
Great.
Hello.
Great. So I'm glad I'm not talking alone. Amazing. So for this, thank you for responding. So for this session today, we have two amazing guests. People I so much respect. They have done a lot of things in the community. They have done a lot of things in the developers ecosystem, in the bringing up entrepreneurs, in bringing up more people in the community. I could go a long way to start talking about their profile here, left, right, center, but I don't think I'll do justice if I go ahead and maybe give them a low profile. So I will say, please, I don't know if we'll say put our hands together or we'll put our emojis together. And we'll say, ladies before gentlemen, let's welcome Engineer Ngani Faith, who is going to introduce herself. Please, Faith, don't be shy. And don't be modest, please. Brag, this is the point where you blow your trumpet as high as possible. Faith, over to you.
All right, everyone. Hello. Please, can everyone get me? Hello. All right. Thank you so much, Martin, for this great opportunity and privilege to be here. I'm so honored to be here. I can see a lot of people that I've seen them on LinkedIn, those I met in Boya. It's a great honor. My name is Faith Ngani, Chair. I have been a software engineer since 2016, graduated from UB in 2017. And after graduation, I worked as a project manager with Web Shinobis for a couple of years. Currently, I'm based in Yaoundé. I run a software engineering training program called Rebase Code Camp. It started in 2022, so this is our second year. We're making 2 years in October. It's not been an easy journey running it so far. And when Martin told me about the topic on relationship at the workplace, it was quite interesting. I don't know why he chose me, but I can say I've had my fair share of relationship at the workplace. Being a project manager, and also I got married to my colleague. So I'm married to my colleague and a friend, so I can actually speak about how relationship at the workplace can affect both your work mentally and your professional life. Thank you so much, Martin, for the opportunity. I think that's all I can say about myself for now.
Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you for accepting to do this. This is normally the time which you should be spending time with your family, and quote unquote is cold now. So not singles like us still running around and creating community chit chat. But thank you again very much for making out this time, and I appreciate. So we go to the next person, amazing leader, amazing community development expert. I would just say let's give it up for Mr. Ashu Gabriel Mokate. Please, Mr. Ashu, if you can just turn on your video for a few seconds at least so the people can see you. Thank you very much. And he's joining us from, I think...
I'm joining you guys from my 17.
Okay, from my 17. Okay.
Yeah, so guys, thank you, Martin, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share about relationships in the workplace. I'm Mokate Ashu. I'm many things. I really sometimes don't know how to describe myself, but specifically, I'm an operations management specialist. And then I am also into project management. Currently, I work as a project manager. And I'm the founder of JongoHub, where I've had extensive experience relating with people, also working with startups. And I've also worked in several international organizations, including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, the US Embassy. I also worked for a bank, African Trust Bank, and I also work for the United Nations. So across my career, I think I've had a fair share of relationships at the workplace. So I'll be glad to share the little I know with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashu. That profile alone worked for banks, worked for the UN. Some of us are still looking at, okay, when is the day we are going to chop UN money? And I like the way you both of you put it. You both have had your fair share of relationships at the workplace, and me personally, I'm very excited to hear some of those fair share. And please, this is supposed to be an honest discussion, and the people want to hear what you have to say. So we'll start with a very, very simple and a simple basic question, which may not be simple. This will go to Mr. Ashu. Mr. Ashu, what would you say a relationship is? Maybe let's start from defining what a relationship is.
Yes, so what is a relationship? A relationship is actually can be defined from several planes. But first of all, a relationship has to do with interaction, social interaction between two people or two and more people. So it's about social interaction, is the way people connect with each other, the way people associate with each other, the way people interact with each other. That is what is called a relationship from the social angle. A relationship could also be blood, and it could be defined by blood, by friendship, by colleague, as a result of the different circumstances that people share. People share different circumstances. It could be work, it could be family, it could be business, or anything else. I mean, relationships develop in different planes and as a result of different circumstances. So, but what is more important to take as key in my little definition I'm trying to provide here is that it has to do with social connections and interactions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ashu. Let's take it a bit deeper now. Let's go to Engineer Faith. What if you're talking about, he has talked about relationships as the connection. Now bring it to the workplace. What is a workplace relationship to you?
Okay, thank you. Workplace relationship to me is basically how do you interact with your colleagues or your boss.
Okay, can you take that a bit deeper? Let's understand what you mean by interaction.
Okay, we have at the workplace, we have different type of relationship. We have the boss to the colleague relationship. We have the boss to the employee or the employers to the employee. We have the relationship between the two employees. So you have staff to staff connection. So what keeps you people in one team? We have the people that work in the same team. They form their own bond because they are connected by a common project. We have the people that are connected based on their department, like those in the marketing department have a different relationship different from those based in those in the tech department. So basically at the workplace is what connects people together at the workplace.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ashu. Anything to add around what Faith just talked about?
No, I'm sorry. I said I was okay with what Faith just shared. Yes, those are just the different forms in which a relationship can express itself. Thank you.
Okay, so let's continue with you now. We've talked about relationships. We'll start from the negative part. How will you qualify a relationship that is unhealthy at the workplace?
Okay. I don't know. I feel that for me to be able to share that a little bit more detailedly, I wanted to share a few concepts that interplay in a workplace when it comes to relationship, and then I could effectively respond to that question.
Yes, sure. Please go ahead.
There are two key aspects in a workplace, and one key aspect that manages the workplace, or one key concept and principle, is the concept of sexual harassment. Okay, sexual harassment has to do with someone who is on a place of authority using their power to sexually harass someone who is of lower authority. So in the workplace, you have this kind of dynamics whereby people of authority could use that influence to ask for a woman out or ask for a man out, and impose on them to be in a relationship with them so that they can get some workplace favors. That is one dynamic that happens, and which is in many international organizations. When you get into the office, you're going to see written on the walls of that office, zero tolerance for sexual harassment. This is because this is something that happens a lot within the work environment, and it is also something that is not spoken about. Okay, so very often, I'm not saying that it is only sexual relationships that are toxic in a workplace, but I'm saying that the cause of a lot of toxicity has to do with the interplay, with a sexual interplay within a workplace environment. When a boss starts going out with the secretary, there is highly a chance of disrespect that would start interplaying, or there's highly a chance of emotions streaming into the workspace. There is a chance of jealousy, a sense of friction streaming into the workplace, because probably there are some other people that are competing to have the boss. You know, the boss could be male or female. I'm not saying in sense of male only. There are some other men that could be competing to have the boss who is a female, and then there's some competition that starts and creates a whole unhealthy environment. So that's just one plane when it comes to some dynamics, and it's important for organizations or companies or boards in different companies to establish a policy against sexual harassment and provide the opportunity for people to report every aspect of sexual harassment that they face in the workplace in order to keep a safe working environment. Another aspect in a workplace could not even relate to sexual harassment, but it could just be corruption. Okay. People bribe in their way sometimes to get a job. And when they bribe in their way to get a job, they become also sometimes disrespectful. These are some social dynamics that happen in a workplace. As the boss shows favoritism on some other people, he's more friendly to other people, and to other people, he's so harsh. And that creates an imbalance in terms of the relationship of the boss with the co-workers. That's also some friction that can really poison the work environment, you know. So another aspect I wanted to mention was the aspect of sexual exploitation. Sexual exploitation has to do with still someone in a position of higher authority. This has to do with someone of higher authority with a client, not with co-worker there. So you imagine that you have a client that is coming in, and because the client is coming to seek for a certain favor, for example, from you think that you can use that opportunity to establish a kind of relationship with that client. Those relationships are always on unhealthy basis, and this is also something that creates a lot of unhealthy work environment. So perhaps I might have to share some more later, but so far this is what I can share with you.
Great. Mr. Ashu, thank you. You just nailed, like, you took the cat out of the bag, or the something out of something, and went into violence mode. And, well, not violence mode, but saying the things the way they are. And that's one thing I like about you. You talk about these things as clear as possible. Now I want us to go to Faith. Faith, do you have anything you like to add about the things that, because we want to start from a negative to a positive. We're talking about the things that creates unhealthy relationships at the office. Mr. Ashu talked about sexual harassment. He talked about bribing yourself into the company. He also talked about interacting with somebody who is coming out from outside, and maybe you're asking them for a favor in exchange for the service you want to render. So, is there any other point which you think could be creating a toxic relationship at the workplace that you want to contribute towards that?
All right, there's just one thing, nepotism.
Okay.
Especially at the level which you are hiring. You hire based on relationship, based on is your village person or it's a friend. That will cause your relation at the workplace to become very challenging in future.
Okay, so don't go yet, Faith. Now,
Okay.
you've listed we've listed now, like, it's like four things that could cause issues at the workplace. Now, if somebody finds themselves in an environment that exhibits one, two, three, or four of such traits, how do you what will you advise them to be able to navigate that situation? Because we spend at least half of our lives at the office with our colleagues, and maybe it's our colleagues. But I think most of what people have talked about is boss, employee. But I've not heard anything about employee toxic relationship. I don't know if there's always a good relationship between employer and employee.
I don't think there's always a good relationship between employee and employee. It's a level of we have jealousy among employees, and most of the things stem from how the boss treat the general staff.
So it sounds like the boss has a lot to play here.
Yes, as a leader, you have a lot to play in the company.
Okay, so take yourself now as the employee who is found in the milieu, and it's feeling that kind of the relationship that they're getting, the vibe they're getting from the company is not one that it's welcoming to them. What will you be in the position to do, or what will you advise around that?
With any specific example do you want me to talk on?
Anyone,
If you list a lot.
yes, pick anyone. Maybe it's colleague. Maybe it's the nepotism part. Maybe it's favoritism. Maybe it's the harassment. Maybe anyone you want to talk about. How will you feel like the person should address such a situation?
I think most often, for me personally, the first thing is to evaluate myself. How is this relationship affecting my work? That's the first question I ask myself. Does it affect my work negatively? What can I do? If I speak to the boss about it, can the boss do something about it? The first situation, is it affecting my work negatively? I can speak to the boss and tell the boss, like, the way you are treating this person, you give all the resources to this person is affecting my work at this level. I can't be productive if I don't receive the resources I need for this particular work.
Okay.
Because at the end goal, we want the good of the company. But you choosing one person over me means I will not be able to produce. And when I don't meet my expectations, we are all drawing the company backward.
Okay,
that sounds like my first response.
That sounds like the case for the favoritism.
Yes, the case of favoritism.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe we'll come back to you a bit after we get also Mr. Ashu's response. Ashu, now you've talked about those negative things. If somebody finds themselves in that position of being in a toxic work environment or having unhealthy relationships in the work environment, what will be your suggestion now they can handle it? Okay, apparently he's having maybe network issues or so from where it is. But we'll come back to that question. Let's go to friendships amongst colleagues at the office. What can you say around that? What are the potential risks and benefits of forming friendships at the office? That's to you, Faith. Should you just come to the office, do your work, close, pack your bags, and go, or you should form friendships with your colleagues at the office?
I would say form friendship at the office, but keep it professional at a certain level. Have what you call boundaries with your friendship at the office. For example, there's a way that you can share emotions without oversharing. People have a lot on their minds, people have a lot to do, but you should know. You cannot be an island in an office. Definitely you need help from time to time on your tasks. If you don't interact with your colleagues, how are you going to ask for help in the nearest future when you are stuck on a task?
Great. You talked about boundaries. Can you expatiate more around how do you set the boundaries? Do you say don't come to my desk? Do you say don't talk to me when I'm coding?
Okay, this one I will use a specific example.
Yes, please.
I'll use a specific example. So probably you left home, you had an issue at home with your parents or with your spouse. It's really bugging you, and you get to the office and a colleague walk up to you and asks, "Hello, Martins, how are you? How was your day? Or how is your day going?" There are three ways which you can respond to this. You can either be tight, or you can overshare, or you can just create the right response for it. Or you can be tight by just saying, "I'm fine." Means you're telling your colleague, "Please don't come near me. I'm not interested to know whatever you want to say." You can go ahead to say, "I'm not fine. Things are not going well at home. I was fighting with my mother. My sibling, my sister is sick. My brother is calling for school fees." Like you just pour out your whole emotion on your colleague. That's you oversharing. Maybe your colleague was not really interested to know what is going on with you. He was just being polite, asking, "How are you?" On the third one for creating a boundary is like, "Well, things are a little bit rough, but I'm handling it. I'm receiving the support which I require." In this case, you have told a colleague there's something going on, but you're receiving help. It's up to the colleague to ask to know further about what is going on. And it's at your discretion to either share or not share. So you have answered the question, you have left it as an open invite to your colleague. People could talk during your break time. Your colleague will come and say, "Martins, in the morning you said things are rough at home. Is there anything I can do to help?"
That's and if the colleague wants to know more and you don't want to talk, how do you handle that?
You could just say, "No, it's fine, I'm handling it." In the subsequent future, the colleague could come and ask, "Last week you spoke about this thing. I can see your work is being affected. Is it still what is happening at home?" The relationship is still friendly and professional because you are asking what is happening at home with respect to it affecting your work in the office. You are not just asking for asking sake. "Martin, your work has been low this week. Is it due to what is happening at home? Do you need some time off to handle them?"
Okay. So this is you trying to care for your colleague, but not also become like too caring.
You are trying to care for your colleague while keeping it objective, while keeping to the work milieu. Because the question is, why are you asking? Is the work at home, is it affecting his current mood in the office?
Okay.
Yes, that's what you're asking. You're not just asking for asking sake. You don't just want to chat unnecessary chat.
Okay. So I hear here that share, but also don't overshare everything that is happening with yourself, and don't become also very very nosy with the people around you.
Yes, don't become too nosy.
Okay.
If you are the team lead, ask, be nosy due to the fact that maybe it's affecting the person's productivity. Your productivity is low this week. I remember you mentioned that things were rough at home. Is it still the same, or how can I help?
Okay, so let's take you as a leader, as the administrative director for your company. You figure out that people are having issues among themselves, relationships are not going at the way you're expecting, or work is not moving because there is some level of toxicity in the office based on a relationship you have been built, maybe there are camps. How will you advise, or what will you say as a leader to be done in such a situation?
Okay, I'm a big person on talking.
Okay.
The first thing I do, I work with students, so there's always this conflict of I cannot work with this person. I faced that during in the first batch of students. Like I can never work in the same group with this person. The first thing is why? What happened that you can't work with this person? So the first thing is I bring you put together and get to know the reason, what is causing the conflict. Is it due to the person's mentality, or is it due to the person's way of seeing things? The first thing is let me get to know the empathy of each other, of the people. Let me empathize with them. I don't take side when it comes to the colleagues. When I put them together to talk to each other, communicate clearly. What happened? You communicate with, when you say this, I felt, and don't interrupt the other person when the person is speaking. Let the person speak to the end. Then now you can speak. Because there's something about giving feedback.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's the thing about bringing them together. Let them receive the feedback from each other. What happened that this thing led to a fight? What led to this conflict? Let's start by communicating clearly to know the root cause. So open communication among the people concerned.
Great. Okay, so I hear that communication is one very important thing for you to identify where the problem is coming from.
Yes.
And will you say if you figure out that they just don't like working with each other, you will remove them from the team, or you force them to work with each other? What will be your point around that?
I cannot just remove you from working. It's a team, it's a company, we have a common vision. The thing is, it's us against a problem, not me and you.
But they don't see it like that.
So the first thing is I'll ask you, why don't you like this person? I remember I was talking with my husband, so we were talking about the join, the jealous, and the jump.
Okay.
Self-evaluate yourself. The individual self-evaluate themselves. Why don't you want to work with this person? Is it a join? Is it that this person has a quality that I have that I don't like myself? Is it jealousy? This person maybe is well noticed by the company, and I wish I could be noticed by the company as well. Is it a job? Is it something from your past or from your home that is affecting your relationship with this person? So the first thing for them to self-evaluate themselves, to actually know that is this thing from me or is it actually from this person? If they cannot resolve, then probably we might form two teams. But the first thing is to make sure that they self-evaluate themselves.
Wow, that's deep. Okay, thank you, Faith. We'll go to another part of this discussion, which is still around the relationships. Today, the world has become a global village, and people have to work in remote teams where you have to work with people from the US, Pakistan, Germany, and all of that. And it's still a workplace, but it's not a physical workplace. What would you say are some of the best practices that can be put in a company for the right relationships to be built around remote teams? This is to you, Faith. For remote teams.
For remote teams, I came across something which was called a remoji.
Okay.
Where you create you create emojis that you can use for communication. So any particular an emoji represents something for your team. You could use the angry face emoji for I'm not happy with what you said. So your team knows that when you give an angry face, that means I'm not happy with what you said. You can use the turtle for the fact that I cannot catch up with this work. The timeline is too tight for me to catch up with. We have the next things are you can have games where people play during your stand-up to make people to be free. Don't be scared to have games to play. You have short games that you can play during a stand-up meeting. People take turns playing the games to make your teams be more interactive, more connected.
And those games, aren't they chopping into stand-up time? This is me being the crazy boss here.
Remember, if your team is not mentally prepared, your stand-up time might be 5 minutes, but you'll end up leaving the stand-up without knowing anything about the day.
Okay, I'm sure
I
people.
end up wasting 24 hours without being productive. Well, what if you could do something to boost the team morale by playing a game where they feel connected mentally? I think I saw a game today called Got It.
Okay, can you just tell us how that works?
The game, you're in a group of two plus people. Anybody thinking of a word, the first people that come up with a word, they shout "Got it," and they say the word. The next set is the next set of word have to do something that is connected to the word that two people mention. Until you people get the word, until the people get the exact same word, then we end the game.
Interesting.
In this case, you are trying to make the people to see how they are connected mentally.
Okay, so we're not bothered here about how long the meeting gets to run, but how important you can build the relationships with the people.
Yeah, to get the people in a one mental space for working.
Great.
The next thing I can see in a remote team is, as a team, remember you people have something, an expectation to deliver. Communicate that expectation clearly. Communicate that expectation clearly. Get them to understand the reason why people have to do this within this deadline.
And if you have people who don't get to understand these things, they are like the ones that suck the energy of the team. How do you handle such kind of people?
We go to the next one we call the survey.
Okay.
Make a survey form and send to everybody. Let everybody feel. Have questions on it available, and let everybody answer. Then you come and share that form with the team. Share how everybody responds with the team, so you can see what somebody needs as the support when they get stuck or when they're emotionally down. From there, you can always refer to say this person emotionally down. He said, if I'm down, this I can be supported.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Faith, and hi again, everyone. So we are on the Tech Shanty Community Chit Chat, the 4th edition, and today we are talking about relationships at the workplace. We have, okay. Mr. Gaston, Engineer Gaston says, I am down. Please support me with money. I will send you my Momo number so you can open it, because I think my Momo number has a problem. You have to send money so you opens it, and then I'll be able to send you money. We can talk about that after. So again, I'm glad we're having this discussion. So let's take a bit deeper dive, right, to some things that are a bit deep and maybe a little personal here. Relationships at the workplace. Let's talk about dating at the workplace. This is it's something which you have experienced. You will talk about, maybe you talk about what you have experienced, and you also talk about what you think should happen, because times are changing. Relationships at the workplace. What is, if people start falling in love in the office or start catching feelings? Let's take colleagues, because the dynamics is different when it's the boss to the employee. It almost always conflicted around maybe sexual harassment. Let's take the example of two people liking themselves in the office. How bad or how good is that for the relationship at the workplace?
Okay.
I'm sure people are waiting. They want to hear the stories. Susie is laughing, and I'm sure people are giggling wherever they are. Marie, some people like too many gist. You just like gist. Too much gist. Please, Faith, spill it.
To be honest, relationship at the workplace most likely lead to less productivity.
Interesting.
That's an honest opinion.
Less
You
productivity.
get too emotional. You get to be corrected becomes very difficult. So if you're in this case, if you're not on the same team, it's different. Therefore, you don't get to interact at the workplace. maybe people just meet in work grid and you post separate and go home. But if you're working on the same team, the team dynamics automatically change. If you are in a team of 5 and they have to do a voting, automatically there's this thing of like fact that I have to vote if my partner is voting against.
And that
Like
becomes
it or not,
bias.
it will affect your productivity.
So you are totally against relationships at the workplace, emotional or dating relationships.
Emotional relationship at the workplace, I'm not for it. Though I went through it, but I will not really advise it. I would want a company to have clear rules on it. If there's a way that you could separate the two people once they fall in love, put them on 2 different teams, please do.
But they are still going to be seeing each other.
But they are on separate teams. Their decision does not affect the particular team at the moment. They could see each other out of the team meeting, out of the teamwork. But if they have to work on the same product, it becomes challenging to give feedback to the other person. I would talk like a lady. It was challenging for me to receive feedback from my partner. So he basically has to find a way not to hurt my feelings when I'm wrong about something. And if he was to do a voting about something, he has to wait for me to vote so that he will know how to vote. So it was really challenging and it made the team to be less productive. But at the same time, I could actually separate sometimes my work from my personal life. So it was more different. Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me clearly, Sally?
I think I can hear you. Salim, maybe you check your mic. It's a bit disturbing. Maybe.
So Martin, what I would say the first thing is, if 2 people on the same team fall in love, if you can separate them, please do. If you can't, if you're the team leader, call both of them and talk to them about the implications of the relationship and ask explicitly, would this affect your work?
But
the lady might be quick to say no, but 90% it will affect the work.
And if it doesn't work, you fire them, or you fire one and leave one.
You can give that option. I will give that option.
When I
will give that option to fire one and leave one.
When I says fire
evaluate
one,
both of them.
But if you fire one, isn't the other person going to hate you for firing the love of their life?
No, he won't hate you.
Okay, it's the he.
Because definitely the relationship at the workplace, the work, it will not just affect your work life, it will affect your personal life as well. You are going to take that grudge out of the office back home. I'm serious.
Okay. So
you will not just end at the office. You will not just end at the office. It will ruin that date night. Yeah. So you have to ask both of them. But as your company, you have to evaluate their competence and say, I'm willing to separate people to both teams because you are valuable to the company. But this relationship is affecting your work so far. But be assessed, like have a reason. Be true that it's affecting a relationship, not just say this has been affecting a relationship. Be like show proof that it's been affecting a relationship. Your productivity, you used to deliver on time, but you're no longer doing this on time. Don't just say it, but be true. Have true data about it, and say for this reason, I think one of people have to let go, or we keep putting people on the probation for the meantime to see how people can manage this better. But my first thing is separate them.
So if
for their own good as well.
Yeah. So if
for their own good as well.
So if I am catching feelings for my colleague, what do I do with it? Put in a bottle and what do I do with that feeling?
The colleague is in the same team with you.
Yes. I'm catching feeling for my colleague and I'm in the position where I need that job and I feel like this person is going to make my life also good. What do I do with that emotion?
The person is going to make your life also good in what aspect? You need that job. Will that relationship affect your job?
Well,
will it make you more productive?
They say love conquers all.
If the relationship is making you more productive, I don't think your manager will have an issue. The issue is when there's a when you become less productive due to the relationship.
Okay, I'm seeing the comment section is roasting with lots of comments. It's gonna get crazy when we get to. Okay, love conquers all. Where I think that's what they say in the Filipino movies. I think. Okay, we've talked around partner, around colleagues to colleagues. Now, what? Let's take it from a different level. You as a staff start catching feelings for your supervisor, your boss, your manager. How do you handle that?
Male or female?
I don't. That's a deep question. Please, can somebody write whether it's male or female on the chat?
Because it's different. Is it the male? That's why I think Mr. Ashu would have been in a better position to answer this, because I saw we have the whole issue of sexual harassment coming in.
Yeah.
How does the boss treat you? Will the boss keep giving you more work if you turn down the boss?
Kill your work.
So that's the issue of sexual harassment, and that's what having the unhealthy workplace relationship.
Okay, so you bottle the feelings and keep, or you quit your job, or you man or woman up and tell the person you like them. What do you do?
If you are the boss, get the person another job somewhere else and chat the person after.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so you
Martins, I will say this again. The relationship at the workplace, if you can avoid it, please do. You will not just, if you have an issue at work, it's different when you take an issue, you have an issue with your colleague, and you come home and you're discussing with your partner. But now when you have an issue with your partner at work and you come back home with that same issue, it's different. Like, it's the same person. Why are you going to Why are you going to pour emotions to?
Great. That's so the dynamics are very complicated there. It means
so
that
you can avoid it, though.
Now people don't intentionally start liking people, right? Sometimes it happens because of maybe things that maybe transpire. So as a corporate leader, what are the measures you will put to reduce those kind of things from happening? And is it going to be, do you think it should be a strict rule when you hire a person and you should tell them that no dating in the office?
It won't be a strict rule of no dating in the office.
So it's a subtle rule. If it's not strict, then it means people can date and it can cost your company a lot of money.
You'll be mentioned, you'll be discussing your employment, and in the course of you working, you have to disclose if you are dating someone at the workplace. If you don't disclose it, you have broken the contract, and that's where you can easily be fired. So it's not a strict rule, but disclose if that happens. We are human beings. You have to create rules. You have to be sensible to the rules.
Yep.
As you said, people don't decide when to fall in love.
Yep.
But at the same time, you also have to know, like, you have to work. Is it affecting a relationship? It only becomes a point of concern when you become less productive.
Okay. I think I have one last question before we round up with phase one. You successfully maneuvered this and living a happy life with your partner now. What are the things that you people put in place to survive I'm sure people talked in the office, people in the different spaces talked. How did you people survive this?
Okay. You remember I kept on insisting, like, if you can avoid it, avoid.
Yes. But you could not avoid it. It happened. So how did you make it to the end of the tunnel? Because they say there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know who put the light at the end of the tunnel.
That tunnel was long.
Okay.
There's one thing we've got to understand is, at the job site or together, we are not fighting each other. We have a common value, we have a common vision. At the level of the company is to deliver a product for the company. At the level of our home, the level of making our home a better one. So it was us against the problem, not me and you. Not me against you. That is the mindset that we grew up with.
But definitely there were times people disagreed and it came down to affecting your relationship, or it was all nice and rosy.
No, it was never nice and rosy. There are times that for a very long time we argued. I have a different view from him totally. I see the glass as half empty. You see the glass as half full. So you get the point. So we're always from the opposite end. But at the end of the day, we could our colleagues could allow us to talk because our talking brings the different ideas together.
Okay.
We have the respect. It's the highest thing I can tell you is respect each other's opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
Have mutual respect. You are fighting towards one vision or one goal, not each other.
Great. Thank you, Faith. That's I know this is not something that you say on a normal day. I don't know. I may have pushed too much, but I think it's important for people to also learn from experience of others that have gone ahead. And Gaston, thank you for allowing her to do this on this call. I know it's a big thing. So I just want you to get to the last, give a summary of what you think about relationships at the workplace so that you can summarize everything that you said, the good, the not so good things, what you can do, how you can make your life better at the workplace, and things to avoid and things to do so that we can migrate to the second part of our program.
All right. Relationships at the workplace generally are good if they have boundaries, if you have a boundary vulnerability. But remember, your relationship at workplace it starts with you. You are responsible for your emotions, not the emotions of others. How you react is based on you. To build a better relationship, always be self-aware. Do a self-evaluation of yourself. Why do you get frustrated about somebody's reaction, about somebody's action? Evaluate that and see. Remember, I talked about the jump, the jealous, and the join. That will help you evaluate yourself better. Why are you frustrated? Why don't you like this person? Have that self-evaluation constantly. Build yourself for others. Building self-awareness will help you a lot have a better relationship. Be self-aware about things that triggers you. Communicate that clearly with your teammates. I didn't like this reaction. When you said this, I felt I was minimized. I will take this for example for those that are working in an environment where they're working with men, for women in particular, and your voice cannot be heard. You can easily say, when I mentioned this and you shut me down, I felt I was not valued. I felt I was not valued. So build up your level of communication so you can communicate confidently in your team. But remember, you people are working towards one goal.
Yeah.
It's the mindset. Change your mindset. It's not me against you. It's us against a problem. And as a leader in a company, I would say communicate the values of your company to all your employees clearly. If you're having a team of 100 people, it's definitely broken into smaller teams. Communicate your values to the team leads. When people know what they are working for, when people love what they are doing, they become more creative. Celebrate small wins with your team members. If something happened during that month, celebrate it. For example, for Rebase students, we are going out tomorrow for a game day to get them to be motivated, and it's a way for them to connect to one another.
And they go pay my ticket at the camp.
So we have those smaller celebration of smaller wins where team members get to connect with each other. In the month of March, we celebrated the women, where we took them out of the classroom, where they got to connect and build bonds out of the classroom. So as a team leader, put down your team. Play games is normal to be played for at the workplace. It helps people to be creative, more relaxed. Remember, we're all doing what we love, and for us to do what we love, we need the right energy and the right emotions. And the last thing I can say is have an emotional fitness form or survey. Share with your team. Let them answer. How do you want to be cared for? Do you want to celebrate it privately or publicly when you do something good? When something happens, what should we do for you? As a company, have an emotional fitness form that you can share. And when everybody answers that fitness form, share with the rest of the team so that they will know what will happen when something happens to somebody, what they have to do to better support their colleagues. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Faith, for those deep words, the conclusive words for the part one. And I think we've really had some nice talk around this first part, and we will be moving to the second part, which will be opening the floor for people to ask their questions, give their worries, and very importantly also contributions. So because there may be something that we have not covered that you want to talk about, you are free to turn on your mic and contribute. So I welcome you back again to the second part of our chit chat. I see a lot of interactions on the comment section. I think we'll have to give prizes for those that have the highest comments. So maybe we'll give it to Salah Kimi. Is that Kimberly? Okay. Let's open. The floor is open now, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you have any questions for Faith, and since Mr. Ashu is not here and myself, or you have any contributions, please, you can just indicate by raising your hand, and then I'll give you the floor so you can ask your question or give your own contribution. People don't want to talk. Hello, is it that the session was either very interactive or very boring and then there's no contribution? Okay, I think Daniel Carlson has a question he dropped on the forum. Let me just read it out so we can respond to that. We keep talking about the scenario where a boss likes the employee. What if the boss hates the employee, or the employee hates the boss? This guy likes the violent part. So what? Let's take first case. The boss hates the employee. What happens?
All right, Carson, the boss hates the employee. Does it affect the employee's work?
Maybe, Carson, you want to unmute your mic. I think this could be better if you explain what your direction of things. Is it possible for you to unmute your mic and ask your question? Okay, so if you were
yes,
the boss...
Carson, you can read your question. I'm asking, like, the boss hating the employee or the employee hating the boss, how does it affect the work?
Carson, you can talk. Let's hear your voice. He says, I'm trying to not let it affect the work. So taking a neutral situation, if a boss hates the employee, what will happen if the employee hates the boss? It's already creating some level, I'm sure it's creating some level of toxic energy.
Yes, it's a level of toxic energy. It will definitely affect your work. So what if the boss is doing? I will go back to the aspect of communicating with the boss. I will go back to have that open communication, like let the boss know how this is affecting your work, how you can deliver. But the first question is, why do you hate your boss? Self-evaluate yourself.
Maybe you just don't like the person's face.
Why don't you like the person's face? Does it remind you of somebody?
Nigger. Take it to the nigger. Take it to nigger. Take it to the wonderful. Nigger. Well, sorry about that.
Why don't you like your boss? Yeah, this is the statement I get people say. Some people you meet, you just don't like. The question is, why don't you just like the person? Self-evaluate yourself. Is it because you want to be like the person? Or are you jealous of the person? Or does the person remind you of somebody in your past? There's a reason why you don't like the person.
Okay. So the point is self-evaluate yourself.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, cousin, does that answer your question? Does that anyway get close to an answer that is acceptable by maybe he's mesmerizing?
The thing is build self-awareness to know what is causing you not to like somebody.
Definitely there are people you will not like, right?
Why?
I don't know. You just don't vibe with them. That's the way you say it.
Well, why? And so what? You don't vibe with them, and so what? How does it affect you? What is the why?
So okay, someone is saying something. If the boss does not like you, don't like the boss. So it's like the hate is mutual. If you hate your boss, suck it up. He's your boss. That's what Ngani Queens is saying. It's your boss. Either you quit the job or you do the job. You're not there to like the boss.
Or you're not there to like the boss. But the question, I'll keep asking the question: why don't you like the boss? How is it affecting your work?
People are only right.
I will go back to the 3 J's, to the jump, the jealous, and the join. There's a reason why you don't like the person.
Okay. Let's leave that one to lie a bit, right? We'll go to since people don't want to talk, we'll go to the form which people submitted. And there are some few questions there. One of the questions is how best to establish limits between colleagues and friendships in a professional environment.
Somebody's hand is raised up.
Yes, Patrice will take your hand. Let's just wonderful. I'll just remove that person. So, okay, Patrice, go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much, Bossman, and thank you so much to all the panelists. I really apologize. I jumped in a little bit late, and it was actually an amazing session, amazing chit-chat. So there was, during the discussion, point was raised on an employee who just like shuts down, right? You clearly, let's say I'm the boss, you're clearly seeing that this employee has a problem. The problem is affecting the employee's work, but yet all the employee tells you it's okay. How do you handle such a scenario, since maybe you don't want to be too pushy, but yet you need productivity? How do you handle such a scenario?
Okay, I gave an example of the employee being tight. The employee is not open, doesn't have a relationship, the employee is tight, and they respond like, I am fine. The question is, you say it's affecting the employee's job. So as the manager or the team lead, it's your place to call the employee and say, I have noticed this past week, your productivity has been low. But when I keep asking what's wrong, you keep telling me it's fine. So you can either be subjective to say, do you need support for your work, or what is happening? I need to know because your productivity is low. Now you're giving a reason why you are prying to the person's life due to work. What I would say is have an objective why you are asking somebody a question at the workplace. I don't know if I answered the question, Patrice.
Yes. Anyway, it's a little complicated given that communication, because some point once you try asking people, people tend to portray some negative emotions, and it's like maybe I should just let it go. And as along the way, you just have this impression like maybe I should just fire this person, maybe I should just lay it off, and something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, I think if you've been asking and you selected a time off for the person to sort out himself, and the person doesn't take it, you are in a place to fire the person because you offered support, but the person didn't accept your support, and it's affecting your company negatively.
Okay, thank you. I think that answers it.
Thank you. We have Daisy. It's Daisy. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for the initiative of this gathering. I would like to answer the question based on the reason why the employer should be hated. First of all, I would start by saying it could be as a result of micromanagement or unfair treatment. At times we experience favoritism, which was clearly stated by one of our panelists. You could have unreasonable expectation. That is, you expect someone to settle unrealistic goals or workload. Actually, we also have lack of development. If the employee feels that their career growth is being, let me see, can I speak in French, please?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello. Okay, let me see if the employee sees that their career is like slowed, and him trying to express that to the employer brings him more. C'est-à-dire, il y a une moquerie à l'intérieur qui se reproduit et ne parvient pas à faire ce qui a été demandé de faire, on pourrait le renvoyer. Voilà ce que moi j'en pense, que la plupart des employés ont des soucis avec les employeurs.
Thank you for that contribution. Reason why some people are hated, why maybe you hate your boss or your boss hates you and all of that. Thank you for that contribution. I think we have some stuffs on the somebody says the bosses are straight up from hell and you can't talk to them. Is it always hard to talk to bosses? I don't know.
Carson is your boss from hell. Maybe you can share experience with your boss and we can better understand. Carson, you don't want to talk.
Okay.
I think as a leader, you have to be able to have a balance, be sensible with your employees.
Okay, so let's take the other question that is that was dropped in the registration form, and I'm going to read it as it's there. It says, how best do you limit how best to establish limits between colleagues and friendships in a professional environment? I think you talked about that, but maybe you just want to take a summary on it, to creating that limit between friendship and professionalism, or friendship and colleagues. Oh, okay, this one is a bit different. Maybe you have a friend that is your colleague. So how do you make it professional, where maybe you have to give them feedback in the office? Maybe you have their subordinate, your supervisor, or you're working on a project together. So how do you handle your friend who is your colleague?
Your friend wishes your colleague.
Yes. Maybe you were friends before you became into the company together.
Gangsta rap, nigga.
Guys, I'm sorry. Somebody keeps joining this call and I've turned off the automatic join. I don't know why they are still able to join it. Sorry, you can go ahead, Faith.
Okay. The first thing is for you to be able to build yourself on how to receive and to give feedback. Most of us, we are terrible at giving feedback and are also terrible at receiving feedback. Know how to give feedback to your friend and also how to receive feedback from your friend as well. That will help your professional relationship. That's what I can say.
Got it? I got your dog here. Yeah, good. Yeah. He's trying to get his fucking shirt off. This week. As soon as we get this, we need to roll him over and start doing chest compressions.
And the next thing is, when you receive a feedback, don't respond immediately. Take some time to process the feedback and come and ask your friend some questions. Appreciate them for the feedback they gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them why they could say this about so you could actually build yourself. The whole thing about relationship is you have to build yourself. You build your self-awareness. Your emotions start and ends with you. Build that awareness. Change your mindset about things. Your friend giving you feedback is about the work. It's not really about your your friendship. So know how to receive tough feedbacks from your friend. It starts and ends with you. Know how to give feedback to your friend in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's yourself.
So self-evaluate, give feedback, and receive feedback. Thank you very much. Any other contributions, please? I think this call is compromised, so I think we're compromised since we shared the call link to a number of groups. So I'm trying to clean it. Please, we can go ahead and ask our questions if we have questions.
We're having better. Is it?
Wow. I think we have to end the call.
Yes, Idris.
Okay. Idris, please go ahead.
Do you sincerely think that dating in the office can also be a source of motivation? Like to boost your productivity?
No. It can never be. I think so. I firmly stand that it cannot be. But Idris, how do you think it can be a source of motivation?
Well, there are some people that could actually have self-confidence issues. And just having someone around who can tell you all the time, probably nurture your feelings and tell you, oh, you can do this, can help boost the way you look at things and boost your productivity also, because it somehow builds your confidence and always enables you to work.
Once you take it romantically, it will become negative. That both will no longer be there. The person will want to be treated differently. And whatever you give will no longer be helpful.
Okay. Idris, does that answer your question? Does that satisfy your cravings of wanting to date your colleague?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I see a comment here from Tata that says, because you wouldn't want to embarrass your partner and yourself, so you always work hard. Yeah, well, Yeah, I mean, you will not want to embarrass them in maybe the stand up that you've not been able to work. So you may just want to work harder.
You wouldn't
While
want to embarrass them, and your colleague will not comment if you haven't done the work as well. So your partner will not comment if you haven't delivered the work, and that can just start like you can start compromising on the smaller things, and it will go on for a very long time.
Okay.
And you find yourself probably doing your partner's work to catch other people so that he or she does not get embarrassed. You start doing their own workload.
Okay, this is getting hotter. and Gaston says, but Idris, tell us, who are you eyeing in that office? But you would expect them to side with you when you are wrong, like when you don't work. So Idris, Idris, let's leave Idris and his eyeing of whether it's not I know. Let's take from Leo. Leo, please. Leo's hand is up. Well, after Leo, then we'll go to Mbangni Queens. Leo, please.
Leo, we're waiting for you.
Okay, if
Leo is not available, we can take the Queens.
Let's go to Queens. Queens, you can unmute your mic if you're talking because we cannot hear you.
Can you get me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So I'm Queens. I'm kind of a cybersecurity enthusiast, and I think I'm also a designer too. So in terms of the question on feedback, I think the best way to get feedback such that you don't feel hurt is to create an environment where people can easily give you feedback. I personally, as a security person, to get feedback from what I do most times is first is to ask for feedback regularly.
Prince, I think we lost you.
Has the issue been resolved?
Yes, please go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I was saying I think in this, as someone who is in security in particular, most times I get a lot involved in maybe having to talk to employees to try to find out maybe some difficulties they have, etc. So for myself personally, when I work with my friends, what I do is I try to create an environment where they can easily get to me or reach out to me or give me feedback. So most times what I do is I maybe even ask for them, like I ask for feedback regularly. So when we are working, I just casually chip in like, hey, what do you think about this? I try to ask directly and most times indirectly. So it makes them feel like, yeah, I'm going to take the feedback they are going to give me easily. And now, most times I also ask now maybe clarifying questions. Like maybe if I explain something to them and I feel like, okay, they don't get it, it's maybe unclear, I try to ask more questions to understand them and maybe push them to ask questions or tell me how they feel without maybe feeling a little bit receptive, etc. And then to help the things most of the times, as you said, take time to process feedback, and after processing feedback, to create an environment. So is reach out to the person later on, appreciate them for giving you that feedback, and then try to implement the feedback, and if possible, maybe follow up.
Thank you very much, Queens, for that contribution there. Faith, anything to add to what he said or to cement?
No, I think he said it well. When you receive feedback, process, get back, thank them for the feedback, and ask questions on the feedback you receive, and thank them again.
Great.
But be ready to receive feedback from people. Be ready to receive feedback. Be ready to ask also for feedback. Don't just wait for when they give you feedback. Also reach out to ask for feedback about your work. Your friends know you better. And if you're working with your friend, that means you already have a relationship apart from building a thing in the professional milieu, so you can easily interact with them for that. So ask for them feedback from time to time. And also give feedback to them from time to time and say what you did at the stand-up was not really good. Maybe you could say this. Give feedback as well. but know how to give feedback. Build self-awareness at the end of the day. A relationship, it starts with you. What you give to others is from what is from within you. It's what you are portraying is from within you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to Leo. Leo, can you talk now? Leo? Oh, okay. Leo says, I don't know if it's a he or she has a problem with their mic.
You could send a question in the chat.
Yes, you can send a question in the chat. I see a lot of people here that I can recognize. I see Uncle George, I see Lily, I see Rudy, I see Fred. Hey, Fred, how? You have something to say, please? Contribute.
Hey, Ashu. I was just stopping by to say hi, man. Like, how's it going, everybody? Hi, my name is Fred. I'm the founder of Bungalow. I just saw the flyers and Martin posted it, so I was just like, let me stop by and say hi to everyone, and just encourage you guys to, keep it up. The workplace is very toxic. It can be very stressful sometimes, and we just have to keep our heads high, be open and, learn from one another as well. I've really been an entrepreneur most of my life, so, so I tend to rather be at the leadership side, and I see a lot of things in the workplace. Also, cultivating the right relationship is very essential for, future career goals, as well as, having a conducive and very energetic, good energy work environment where you kind of excel. So it's not worthy to come to a workplace with garbage that you carry from, different experiences, and then you're just trying to pour on people. You have to be open. You have to be, it's essentially just, open-minded and ready to learn, ready to share as well, because there is more blessing to give than to receive, as they always say. So it's very important. And you know that a good energy environment boosts your productivity as well. So it's not good to, be in loggerheads with people. Just know that we are here the goal should be focused on what you guys are doing, which is work. And don't keep persona non grata and all of that kind of stuff. So it kind of like kills productivity and also makes you not grow professionally as well as even socially. And it's very important to use empathy, to be more emotionally intelligent, to, analyze situations and be able to act accordingly. Be more logical, don't throw a lot of emotions into things. If people make mistakes, you're ready to correct them and, show them how it's done better, instead of show some love and be more concerned about one another at the workplace. It's very important. So just a couple of things I could, mention.
Thank you very much, Fred, for your contribution. I'm sure people are loving it and they are learning from everything that we are having here. So I think we'll have few minutes and we'll be closing the session for today. People have just been focused on writing in the chats. I don't know whether their mouths are heavy. Please, Gaston, you're there. Are you still there? If you're still there. Yeah, Gaston, do you want to say something?
He's here, Doc.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. This session has been particularly interesting. Honestly, listening to the entire conversation about relationships in the workplace kind of brings up a lot of things for me. I've really been working a lot remotely over the last, say, 6-7 years, and navigating different kind of strange relationships has been a major part of my career growth. Going from bosses that just are looking for ways to fire you to colleagues that feel like the way they will go forward in life is, or at the workplace, is to backbite you and all those kinds of things. But I think one thing I have learned is I need to first of all have a clear understanding of what I am, or who I am, and what I'm bringing to the table at every point in time. So I always have an evaluation of myself before I respond to anything that comes up against me. For example, I'll just give an example. There was a time the complaint that came against me was I was sharing, or my code was too smart. I was writing smart code. So basically, other team members didn't feel like my code was the best because I was assuming too many things about the other people. And under my circumstances, I would reply differently, but then I had to evaluate and basically reply differently from my first instinct. So I think from what Faith has been saying, it's really important to have an evaluation of self before any interaction with your colleagues or with the relations at work in any situation. But also beyond self-evaluation, there is also building really good communication skills, tackling matters early enough, being able to point out things as soon as they show up, being able to receive and give feedback constructively are really some things that have helped me to be able to navigate relationships at work. And I think on that point, one thing I have learned that crowns my entire journey when it comes to relationships at work is over-communicating is the best kind of communication. So that is the motto I run by now. If there's anything that needs to be said, I say it as fast as possible or as often as possible because I believe over-communication is the best kind of communication. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gaston, for that contribution. And I think we are gradually getting to the end of our chit chat. I don't know if some people have other feedbacks or comments or inputs or anything that they want to give. Yes, Patrice, I think you'll be last person, and then we'll close.
Okay, thank you so much, Bossman. Okay, so it's just something that Gaston mentioned that actually, sparked my attention. So he mentioned over communication, right? Communication being the best model for him. And it's something I think that is actually very vital in an organization. The more you communicate with people, actually, you get to also get feedback from them and you get to understand them better. So there's one thing I just always like, well, I got it, and I just like it so much, is the aspect of avoiding assumptions. And over-communication actually comes with asking questions. Ask as many questions as possible. The more questions you ask within an organization, you understand how the others operate, and you understand they can also express themselves better. Ask as many questions as possible. And don't assume that A did this because A was sick. Don't assume. Let A tell you themselves. Always ask questions and be clear. Don't assume. So that's just something that popped up in my mind, and I thought, as far as building relationships in an organization is concerned, it's a good point for Alice to be shouted out there. Yeah.
Thank you. Ask your questions, communicate, but also don't become a bug, because you could ask questions until they're like, what the heck? This man is like, he's a dictionary, or he's asking Google, there's no Google.
Over communication, communicate with an objective. Don't just be asking questions because of asking sake.
Yes.
Ask because you want to get clarification. I think Patrice mentioned that.
Yes.
Don't just assume, ask with an objective.
Yeah, okay. So he says the message is don't assume. And I like that part. Don't assume. Because there are things that you may just have to ask and then you will not assume. But if you assume, you may assume and have it wrongly. Most of the time.
I think I can give an example. I give an example of which people do assume.
Okay.
I will give this. I don't know if we have women in the house. The assumption is probably you're in a team meeting and people are giving ideas, and you sit and you get angry with people in the team and say, my idea is not taken into place because I'm a woman. Is that true? Were you assertive with your idea? Get to find out why your idea was not given, instead of just being angry with your team members. I think women will do this a lot because we are not that strong in accepting our ideas. We end up assuming that because I'm a lady in the team, I'm not being heard.
That could be a whole lot of another debate, how people perceive what others say to them. I think Ali,
people perceive that. It's okay. That's good.
I think Ali, your hand was up. Ali, you wanted to say something? Okay, maybe not. So I think we have come to the last part of the last part, which we're coming to the end. So I'll give 3 or 5 minutes to Faith to give a full summary and her feedback, her take on how to build the right relationships at the workplace. Remember, you want to build the relationships that will help you to live a better life at the office. You want to build a better relationship that will help you to get promotions at the office, because everybody wants to climb the ladder. There is this thing I saw from VT Vositi Mbewayo. He said that there are things that you do in your workplace that do not necessarily get counted as your KPI. But then when you do some of those things, it builds relationships with people in places that they can say, hey, we have this project, who can we bring in? Or we have this promotion, who can we promote? But because of the fact that you've been able to build the right relationship with the right set of people, they may be able to call your name positively in the right meeting. So I was just adding that. So please, Faith, summary and your advice to every person here, be it a developer, be it a staff, be it a leader, be it a C-level manager, or any of those things. So what's your final words for everyone?
Okay. I said something in the chat which I talk about emotional push-ups. Doing more emotional exhaustion that are different, move you away from your comfort zone. You don't like greeting people when you come in the morning, you want to go to your workspace and be in your workspace. Probably that morning, say, let me just greet somebody that morning. You say yes to everything and you get too much load on your work desk. You can start to say, let me say no today. It's an emotional push-up. That will help you build a better relationship as well. The next thing is build self-awareness. Always self-evaluate yourself. Ask for feedback from your colleagues and your friends. Do not overshare and do not be too tight. When somebody asks a question that is a bit personal, you could answer, leave it in an invitation manner, but build self-awareness. Your emotions, your reactions, it starts with you and ends with you. That's all I can say. I don't know if anybody to add any other thing, but that is it.
That is it. It's quite unfortunate we couldn't get Mr. Ashu through the call, maybe technical difficulties. I just want to thank everyone who has been able to make it to this last moment of our chit chat, and I hope that we have been able to learn one or two things, get inspired by the stories of the panelists, and we can from now hence build better relationships at our workplace that is going to help give us a better physical and mental health, and also increase our state in the company, maybe for promotions and maybe for better productivity. Thank you again, Faith, for your time and for being vulnerable with us and telling us all of the stories and telling all the things that have gone up and come down. So, and thank you to those that have joined, to those that have contributed, to Fred, to Idris, to Odette, to Patrice, and to every person that has dropped a message on the chat. Thank you very much. So we'll see again in September, where we'll have the next chit chat. The topic has not yet been decided on, because we have this once every month where we pick topics that could affect people in their lives, in their workplace, for better productivity. So I say wish you a happy evening and an excellent weekend. And bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.